my time, faster than ever, hungry and I'm going to come back and take what is mine, bigger and better. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Some things are different, but nothing has changed. Still got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game. Saddle, cut to the chase. I ain't somebody who stays in one place. Ready to go, I'm coming to play. You better know I still got something to say. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Some things are different, but nothing has changed. Still got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game. match I couldn't handle. No one else could ever hold a candle. Get ready for a battle, cause you know that I was born for this. I was born for this. Never met a match I couldn't handle. No one else could ever hold a candle. Get ready for a battle, 'cause you know I was born. I tell you I was born for this. Ain't nothing gonna stop me now. I was born for this.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to the Circuit of the Americas, located in Austin, Texas, the home of the United States Grand Prix for Formula One, the NTT Data IndyCar Series, as well as Moto Grand Prix and more for the last couple of years, the home of NASCAR. This almost 4-mile, 3.66-mile facility that nestles 20 turns in the heart of the Lone Star State is the next round, round number 9 of the Northwest iRacing Cup Series, tonight from COTA. And it's on your home for sim racing, celebrating a decade iRacing on LSRTV. And for those that are listening on 87.5 FM in the area of the Triangle of North Carolina and on the Community Radio Network at wearecrn.com. I am Wesley Outland. Joined alongside is Justin Prince. Justin, hello. He's not here yet. He'll be here in a bit. He'll be joined with him soon. He's actually taking care of some other iRacing announcing obligations, but he'll be here soon. And, of course, as always, pushing the buttons behind the scenes is Charles Wooten, part of the members with Jeff Stabnow, Mason Heimbaugh, and the LSRTV production crew. We are ready to go at Circuit of the Americas. Look at John Ottenbacher. He's ready to go. Hang time it in the wall in turn 1. That's a very sharp turn there. We're going to talk about COTA and so much more. Let's take a look at the race analysis for tonight at COTA. Practice session is already completed. Of course, getting ready for the lone qualifying coming up here in just a short bit. Then it's going to be 32 laps. Now, I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but honestly, that is a lot here at the Circuit of the Americas at the racetrack. So we'll have that for you coming up. Obviously, should be a fun time. Short track racing. I want to think that this is actually our first short track race of the, road course race of the year for the, obviously, Northwest Cup Series. So should be an exciting and a fun one. We'll watch it here at COTA. Obviously, NASCAR ran COTA earlier in the year, and Ross Chastain, the Watermelon Man out of Alva, Florida, picked up the win. There's just some of the awesome scenery of everything that's going on here. Weather conditions presented by ML Performance. Yeah, I'm just kind of taking my time. 95 degrees, 96 degrees track temp. Air temp is 65 degrees. It's about 30 degrees difference. Wind speed at 4 miles an hour. Partly cloudy skies. Yeah, you don't have to worry about the monsoon and the crash and the wreck and all that stuff going on like it was in the first time COTA for NASCAR ran there. So it should be a fun time. Hey, let's take a look at the point standings, or I'll at least let you know what the point standings are as we move into tonight's race. Brian Barnes is still the points leader. Of course, coming out of Kansas, this is round 9 here tonight. He has a 10-point lead over Cole Raz. Caden Anderson, of course, is third in the point standing. Sean Breitzman is fourth. Luke Peterson, the top 5. Dan West Jr., 6th, top 10 back, or the bottom 5. His scores 47 back, tied with Ryan Bloom as well and Briar Reynolds. Then it's going to be Jeff Stabnow 8th, Ninth in the point, 60 back Jeff Stabnow, and Carl Burke is currently in the top 10. So that's a look at the point standings, all that good stuff going on here. So you know what's going down. Round number 9 here tonight. Circuit of the Americas. iRacing on LSRTV. We'll take an extended commercial break, and we'll come back with qualifying and on-track activity from COTA when we return. iRacing on LSRTV and on the Community Radio Network. Hey, it's broadcast personality Wesley Outlet up topside at one of the great racetracks of the world, the Caraway Speedway. And I'd like to remind you to join us every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern with coverage of Finish Line, where we talk to everybody from NASCAR to grassroots, like right here at Caraway Speedway. Carolina's Fox Sports Radio affiliates, iHeartRadio, and on the Community Radio Network at 87.5 FM. And remember, thanks to Live Sim Racing Productions, you can actually see the guest panel. Ask their questions. Get interactive with us with comments and so much more in our chat box. Finish Line every Wednesday. Join us every week. Hey, it's broadcast personality Wesley Outlet, and for the second year in a row, the Community Radio Network is excited to also be the voice of iRacing on LSRTV every Monday and Thursday night with the Northwest Racing Series for Cup and Truck. Join yours truly, Justin Prince and Samuel Dyer, every week as they race towards a championship. We're also on the radio in the Triangle in the Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina area at 87.5 WCRN and anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. Click play, check out the coverage, the power of radio to the imagination of the listener, esports style. We are the Community Radio Network, the voice of iRacing on LSR TV. Check it out when you can, and replays are always up too.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it?
They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
So we've already got updated stories before we even get ready to go green. I'm understanding from our Northwest officials, Jeff Stabnow has been disqualified. He didn't even get a chance to even qualify. He did some kind of a penalty or something, and they have penalized him from the server. Is that what we're being told, Charles? Is that what happened? They have a strict control on qualifying. If you burn out or spin too much, then you are suffering a penalty. And understanding that that is what... Can we bring Jeff in the booth? Can we grab Jeff? Get his thoughts on things. He doesn't seem very friendly right now. So he doesn't... so anyhow, Jeff Stabnow has been already disqualified from the race. Here's the Yingling, number 72, BJ Tendrick, his Ford on the speedway. He has not been able to, whoa, holy smokes. Look it out, buddy. Slip sliding away. He might get disqualified next. And so will Burke. 10th in the points. Look out, 53. Oh, so I understand he committed a no speeding and doing burnouts in the pit lane. Jeff should have known better. A veteran legend like himself, you know? Here is Kevin Smith, Hermiston, Washington native of the 00 Ford GT Fusion. Or Ford Mustang, I'm sorry. What the hell did I say Fusion for? I think of the pace car. He's in the Ford Mustang GT, working his way around the racetrack here. 20 turns at COTA. Hey, by the way, what do you think of the new graphics there? Some of the cool things they got going on. Look at one of the new bells and whistles, overlays. When you're 3 days sick, you ain't got nothing to do in your life. You can work on things like that. Good to hear Charles is back doing well again. He was sick over the weekend. Hey, if you wanted to be sick, you picked the perfect time. It rained all weekend, obviously. Stormed. Well, I don't know how it was in Texas, but it did here. Here comes through the S's, Stephen Paulison, Sector 5 Sim Sports entry. What'd you say, 105 degrees? Holy cow, that's just that's too hot. That's too hot for May. Like, seriously. All right, so Circuit of the Americas race fans, for those that are watching, is a 20-turn racetrack. It includes a Grand Plaza, a bowl stadium where they play sports, an amphitheater. Trackside RV parking is always exciting and fun. And of course, it is a 20-turn road course. The paddock is the pit lane, where Mr. Jeff Stab now got himself a boo-boo and a penalty. Look at now, Stephen Paulison on the clock. Paulison, hold on, he went a little bit off course. Saves it, holds on to it again, works around the corner. No harm, no foul. He's okay. There he goes. You can see that these drivers are really getting on the binders because they're really, for the most part, not trying to force driving that car on the racetrack for sure. So, any other takers to qualify? I don't think there is. Good car count. A good car count. 30 cars for this road course race, ready to go here. Understanding that Jeff will be with me probably by 11:35, so that's 10:35 Central. With that being said, we can give you the starting lineup. We're 3 minutes away from Justin Prince joining us, and we will give you the grid here for, it looks like there is going to be not a standing start. Pace car is going to lead them to the green, so at least a couple of corners away. Lake Peterson, Tristan Wood, row number 1. Row 2, Will Fine. Cole Raz in the 10, Robert Gamble in 54. Lineup presented by Team 126 Racing, and I'm digging the new graphics. Paul Newton in set 27, Kevin Smith in 00. Overlays, if you will. Row 4, Brian Barnes in the 4. James Vine in the Catman in the 333. Top 10 will be Stephen Paulison in 58. Chris White in the number 6. Winner last week, by the way, if you remember. We move on to Roy Grande in the 18. To the outside, Brian Reynolds in the 12. Row 7, Toby Ritters, Clifford in 23. Aaron Cooper, best finish for him, a runner-up in Daytona, the season start. He's ready to go in 15. Casey Duncan in 17. John Annenbacher from Concord in 89. Moving on to row number 9. Vinnie McDonald in the 43. Getting better and better week after week in those SGP colors. And Darlington winner of 2 years ago, B.J. Tidrick. Down and out the top 20. Carl Burke, 53. Casey Garber in the 94. Row 11. It's John Brightsman, 2000 Cup Series champion and ARCA champion of last year, Ryan Bloom in 25. Row number 12, we'll find Tyler King in 21 and Caden Anderson, the Yakima, Washington native, in 37. Row 13, Stephen O'Hare in 41. To the outside, Troy Daggett in 51. Row 14, Jeff Stab now, disqualified in qualifying. Don't think he'll make the race. Dana Rogers in 07. And the final row, Dan West Jr. along with Frank Harris in the 11. Understanding Jeff Stab now can make the race, but he was unable to qualify. Going to round these final couple of turns, and we'll be ready to go here. Glad you're along for the ride. iRacing on LSRTV and on the Community Radio Network for round number 9 of the Northwest Racing Series. This is the Cup Tour in Season 3. Tonight we are at COTA, Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Working their way around that final turn into turns number 19 and 20. And the pace car will make the left-hand turn to the right-hand turn, some turn on the pit road. It will be the left-hand turn, actually. Watching them their way. Charles, competition caution, will we see one? For 32 green flag laps, what's the plan? It is a random caution when the race director throws for yellow. We do not know when that will be. One random caution. Left-hand lane, pace cars in. Circuit of the Americas, working the corner. Coming down to the front straightaway, into the starter's box. Green in the air, ready, ready, ready. All the way to the start line, to the green flag. And ladies and gentlemen, you have a virtual race. We're underway at Circuit of the Americas. 32 laps. We're underway. They send it to turn one. Watch him come to that log jam of traffic and jumping out in the early going to be Lake Peterson. Tristan Wood to second. You're on board now with the popsicle car. The original popsicle blend number 4, Brian Barnes. Currently the points leader. He's got a 10-point lead over Cole Raz. Raz, 4th on the racetrack, right behind him right now. In front of him, actually, is Raz. They're 1 and 2 in the points. They're 2 and 1 on the racetrack. At least in that position of 4 and 5. Working up the hill, working down the hill, closing in on turn 10. There's no way that they've already got to turn number 10. That's later on in the race course. Oh, we got a car stopped on the racetrack. I don't know what you're stalled for, buddy. You ain't going to get no yellow flag. Random caution will be called sometime in the race. But was that Tendrick? Oh my. Sounded like we got some problems with BJ Tendrick. He's finally back rolling again. All the while, there's Cole Raz. Look at this, already spread it out around the racetrack. Carl Burke breaking away from Caden Anderson. Here comes now Annenbacher in that mix as well. Anderson outside of Burke. Here comes Brightsman. He'll follow. This is for 15th, 16th, 17th in front of the 14th place car of Carl Burke and Annenbacher, 13th place, 89. Watch him there here. On board with Sean Brightsman tonight, road course racing. 2000 Northwest Cup champion, multi-time winner, the all-time winner of Northwest competition. Hey, and he's got his shades on tonight. He's got on his bifocals. As they are working off turn number 20, believe it or not, to finally complete lap number 1. It took almost a minute and 30 seconds. We're going to go a lap down with Sean Brightsman. So we're going to go a lap around with him here. Into turn 1 and 2. Look out. We got White wreck. We got Audenbacher wreck. We got, oh my goodness, Mel Anderson around 43. McDonald also. See how fun that is? What a view there by Sean Brightsman to hold him off. And you saw the way he got 10 and 2 on that steering wheel first. Oh, Dan West Jr. goes around. More cars going off the reservation. And look at Sean Brightsman. Holding it, holding it. This is what you would call through the S's of the racetrack, if you will. Sean Brightsman, watching him stay on the bottom of the rumble strips, working through the rumble strips. Back at speed. This is probably the fastest part of the racetrack, besides the backstretch, if you will. Then you see everybody get on the binders again. That's Chris White in front of him. Chris White, Sean Brightsman, 10th and 11th on the racetrack as we are on board. Hello to Suyo. Suyo, yes, from the UK. Yes, this is live. This is live iRacing. I mean, it's not a live race, but it's live iRacing from Circuit of the Americas. Working around the final corners. the S's, if you will, the sharp turn here to turn 18 and 19 to turn 20. Look at this sharp to the straight. Look at this. This is turn 18, 19 here. 18, 19. Work your way around. I think I got ahead of myself. That's turn 18. Yeah, this is it. That was turn 19, and this is turn 20. Look at this sharp turn right here, back to start finish. Wow. Okay, I only got ahead of myself by like 2 corners. But anyhow, that's a lap. That's a lap around Circuit of the Americas. And you saw what it was like being on the wheel for also Sean Brightsman. All these drivers, single file, everybody nice and comfortable for the time being. No one breaking out of line. We're underway. Look at Ottenbacher. Look at McDonald. Working around the corners, working around the... I love that car. I love that STP throwback to Richard Petty. And, of course, it's today's version of the STP car, which we don't see anymore. But I'm just digging that wrap job. And McDonald is just getting better and better week in, week out. He had some problems in the start. Look at him, still in the top 15, top in 14th position. But he's 30 seconds back to Lake Peterson. And speaking of Lake Peterson, who is this? We're on board with, is this McDonald? We're on board. Waving Old Glory proudly, the red, white, and blue for the driver of the number 43 of Vinny McDonald. Look at Vinny from this camera angle. Look at it, yeah, look at it. Hey, Vinny. He literally smiled. Did you see him smile when I said, hey, Vinny? Am I gonna try to talk to you? But hey, Vinny. That was perfect. That was perfect. Yeah, it probably gives him like a little flash or a notification. You're on board. On board. Turn 16, 17, 18. Weaseled into turn number 19. Somewhere around the area here is turn 20. There you go. And start finish up ahead. Darn it, I got ahead of myself again. Oh, forgot about those curves right there. Yeah. This is a big racetrack. Almost 4 miles. I think it's 3.66 miles. It is the biggest road course in the history of NASCAR they've ever raced on. Look at this on the top ticker. You see it? Nice little logo. Nice little rundown. The interval. Distance behind the leader, or seconds behind the leader. Seconds, time, whatever it is. If you're a minute behind the leader, you're in trouble. See the rundown of everybody. Jeff Stabnow, 26th. Everybody else, multiple laps down. Roy Grande, Tyler King. So everybody did take the green flag. Ironically, 32 cars, 32 laps. Correction, 30 cars for 32 laps. I'll be joined by Justin Prince very soon. Sometime or later he'll be here. We're road course racing. This is COTA. We're here tonight. Obviously, this is a throwback race, or not a throwback race, but this race is off sequence to the race that was scheduled for Atlanta for the trucks the other night, because the Cup cars ran Atlanta in week number 2 of the year. All the while, there's Kevin Smith, Hermiston, Washington 00 and his Ford GT Mustang working around the racetrack. 2-time winner. And there he is. Look at that. Oh my goodness, I want to be an iRacer. The heck would be in a broadcaster? Look at this. He's got 3 monitors. He's got an up monitor with timing and scoring to keep up with the race. What kind of timing and scoring ticker is that? Is that SDK or is that something different? Is that iRacing timing and scoring? It doesn't look like SDK what I'm using. It looks cool. I like it. I want it. Look at that. That's awesome. And you're on board there on the bottom right with Mr. Hermiston, Washington native, Kevin Smith. 5 laps of 32 completed. Of course, this is iRacing on LSRTV and on the Community Radio Network. Road course racing here tonight at COTA. Hey, you're on board with Kevin. Look at this. Round and round. This is what he sees. You're exactly right. This is exactly what he sees, except he's got 3 monitors up. We got our little screen up, but this is what he sees. How fast can he get on this part of the racetrack? Look at this now. Up to 3rd gear, 4th gear. 89, 9,000 RPMs. He got all the way up to 4th gear before he had to get on the binders. Wow, look at him take it all the way from 4th to 1st. Oh my goodness, wow, talk about losing all that power. And meanwhile, gotta just be gentle. Be gentle on that throttle, on those brakes, because you make a slip and your cars behind you will run them down as well. So let's set up as we're 5 laps into this race at COTA. Lake Peterson leads, Cole Raz is 2nd. Paul Newton is 3rd, Tristan Wood is 4th. Brian Barnes in the top 5, Kevin Smith, James Vining, Sean Brightsman, Stephen Paulison, Ryan Bloom, your top 10. There's Tristan Wood, his Chevrolet 57 Camaro, working behind Newton. Barnes behind him. That's for 3rd, 4th, and 5th on the racetrack. Excuse me, driver left. Run, Wood. Here comes Barnes with a run. He couldn't run him down on the bottom of the racetrack. And here comes now Wood to battle back around Newton as they work up the racetrack F of some part of the race course of these 20 turns. I mean, my goodness, the Geico race zone, I guess. The S's are coming up with these sharp curves, chicanes, carousels, S's. Look at that drop right there. Look at that sharp angle up the racetrack. We're going above. Aerial coverage is always presented by Live Sim Racing. If you want to be a sponsor, contact us today. Look at this angle. Sharp angle right there. Sometimes on the cockpit of the car, it does no justice to show you how sharp of an angle that is right there, just trying to get through there. And then they roar back up to speed. This is the back straightaway part of the track, if you will, here at COTA, which is actually adjacent to what would be the backstretch trackside RV to turn number 12. Now they work to that arc of the racetrack to 12, 13, and 14. That's working now around the racetrack with Annenbacher. Look from this angle. Is this our blimp view or helicopter view? This is our helicopter. Well, it is the blimp. Oh, I understand the helicopter crashed last week. Working their way around turns number 16, 17, 18. Another part straightaway of the racetrack right here. Closing in past what would be, as I mentioned, the auditorium, the amphitheater, the stadium, the Grand Plaza, the Whataburger. Turn 19 to turn number 20, and there's the sharp angle. Back to turn 20. Here at Circuit of the Americas, which is, by the way, now proudly owned by SMI Speedway Motorsports Incorporated. And yes, there's another lap around the Circuit of the Americas. Justin, are you here yet? He's not here yet. Oh, well. We got a battle going on for position. Wood and Newton going at it here. Oh, Stephen O'Hare. Stephen O'Hare with some damage tore up on the back of that 41 car. Something happened to the 41 of Stephen O'Hare. We'll have to find out what happened to the American touch-up entry. He still stays in green. No harm, no foul. And all the while, COTA is where we at. We road course racing, baby. Circuit of the Americas, round 8 or round 9. I'm actually sorry, it's round 9 tonight. Round 9 of Circuit of the Americas. It looks like this Newton-Barnes-Smith battle is the best battle on the racetrack. Tristan Wood again in that mix. He just cleared it one more time. There's Sean Breitzman, 46, 2000 Northwest Cup Series champion, originally from Puyallup, Washington, now resides in Tucson, Arizona, the home of the Cactus. Cactus Land, if you will. Yes. Got him a good run going for him in the Brights Boutique. LSRTV entry. There's James Vine. Well, there's the Catman. There's the Catman. You're on board with him. And you're on board with him down below. The Catman in the house. Now, notice how different his world is, okay, guys? I mean, he just has, you know, and that's one of the things I find so cool is the difference of simulation, the simulators, the type of iRigs or racing rigs that these guys use. And if you look at James Vining, honestly, Charles, it looks like he's just got a basic camera monitor set up with a steering wheel as he comes down the front straightaway here at COTA. That's right. Just a basic setup there. Watching Vining work his way around the corners there. See that he's obviously a fan of music. Not only by the tattoos on his body, but also by the mixer board of the guitar hanging up on the wall. Peterson is the man out in front. Raz in second. Newton third. Wood is fourth. Barnes top 5. There's Vining. Understanding things just wrapped up a few minutes with my colleague, partner, Justin Prince's other iRacing broadcast. So he will be back here directly. Or he will be here directly as they work back up the racetrack, up the hill here at COTA. Look at that angle up the hill to turn 1. Do you just see that? We should put up a camera and be like, put a car climbing that hill. It's crazy.
Hey. Good job
it's
tonight.
crazy how that hill is. It's crazy how that hill is. As right now, Peterson in the number 1 position, working their way.
Good night, guys.
Through the Estes.
Yeah.
Whoa, Odenbacher, sideways, goes around, keeps on going. No harm, no foul. And we are joined now by Justin Prince. Justin, welcome to Circuit of the Americas as we see the cars work through their S's as we close in on lap 10. Okay, we don't have Justin just yet. Justin is not connected yet via our vMix broadcast link, so we'll give him just one more minute, or we're not. Maybe he's muted. I don't know. Peterson is the man out in front. Odenbacher, that little slip put him all the way into the top 20. 1.32 seconds back. 1 minute 32 seconds back to the leader of Lake Peterson. Mind you, let's pick up the leader as we watch those cars work their way. Odenbacher, Ritters, Duncan, and more. There is the leader, Lake Peterson, the Hooters number 9 machine. In his own little world, right now close to a 7-second lead over Cole Raz. Then you got Newton in third, Wood and Barnes. Charles, let me know when we got Justin in position as they're coming up on lap number 10. Here in a few more laps. Remember, somewhere in this race, there will be a competition caution thrown. So we at least do know that one time in this race, series directors for the Northwest Cup Series will call for the yellow. The only question is we do not know when. We don't know when that will be, when that caution will be thrown. And obviously, that'll make it interesting as now we see Wood on the racetrack, the 57. Peterson, Raz, Newton, Wood, Barnes, top 5. There's Barnes. He's the points leader coming into this race against Cole Raz. Raz already up 2 positions in front of him. In the number 3 position now, or 5th, is Barnes. Second in the points going into tonight's race. Raz, he's in second. And as we approach 10 laps into this event, joined now by Canada's Justin Prince. Justin, welcome to COTA. Circuit of the Americas, Justin, third time a charm. Are you there, brother? Okay, so I'll tell you, this is what we're going to do. Let's go to commercial break. We're coming up on the top of the hour anyway. We'll pause for 10 seconds of network identification on the Community Radio Network. And for those that are watching iRacing on LSRTV, we're going to go side by side. You're not going to miss a thing. And hopefully we'll have Justin when we return.
You're listening to the Community Radio Network. Follow us via social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CRN Sports. Plus, listen to other games at 87.5 FM or join us anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it?
They're wasting OTA getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Hey, it's broadcast personality Wesley Outlet up topside at one of the great racetracks of the world, the Caraway Speedway. And I'd like to remind you to join us every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern with coverage of Finish Line, where we talk to everybody from NASCAR to grassroots, like right here at Caraway Speedway. Carolina's Fox Sports Radio affiliates, iHeartRadio, and on the Community Radio Network at 87.5 FM. And remember, thanks to Live Sim Racing Productions, you can actually see the guest panel, ask their questions, get interactive with us with comments and so much more in our chat box. Finish Line every Wednesday. Join us every week. So I'm understanding that we are having some technical issues. Understanding we're having some technical issues to get Justin in. Stand by. We'll be back with Justin momentarily. Here's Barnes in that number 4 machine. We mentioned to him before commercial break, the man that's at the top of the board, if you will. Look at this drive up the hill. Watch this. And for those that are listening in the radio land, it's almost a 200-foot climb, if you will. It is a big launch up the hill to turn 1 here at Circuit of the Americas. And we've noticed one time already tonight as he works around the Echo Park Automotive S's around the Geico area, if you will, that, mind you, if a car stalls up on the top of that hill going to turn 1, that could be calamity for others. So we'll keep a monitor on that. And I think we're ready to try this again. My buddy out of Canada, good evening, Justin Prince. Welcome to Circuit of the Americas, sir.
Hello. You have me this time.
We do. We have you, my friend. Go ahead.
Was trying to say before, this is a racetrack that is very much a difficult one to say the very least to get around. It's 3.4 miles, and I think seeing drivers like Ryan Bloom without the front clip on their cars is a good example of that. This is the type of racetrack where it's very easy to go off the circuit, slam into the tire barriers, rip off parts of your next-gen machinery. It's happened even at the highest of highest levels across the platform for a reason. This circuit, with how big it is and so many hard braking zones, it's very easy to have wheel hop, go off the circuit, miss the entire apex entirely, and bring several other friends with you. And I think based on what we've seen throughout the night so far and seen with some of the drivers and their troubles, that is an understatement and a half today, with a few of the competitors really trying to figure out how to drive a road course.
And I'll be honest with you, Justin, for the most part, we had a couple of hiccups on the beginning. I think that was the drivers trying to get acquainted with COTA, acquainted with the racetrack, acquainted with the other cars around them during race trim. But since they've done that, cars beaten, battered, banged, they know they're going to get a competition caution sometime before halfway, which we know is what? Within the next 5 to 10 laps at some point of this race. And mind you, we're also coming up on 20 to go. This is a short race, 32 laps. But honestly, the distance is a big race course here at COTA, Justin. And don't let that number fool you, 32 laps, as we're on board with the man that's still leading, Blake Peterson.
Blake Peterson, even though right now on the pylon he's got an about 11-second advantage plus, depending on where he is at the racetrack, there is a lot of traffic for him he'll have to keep an eye on the rest of the way. It's not a cakewalk right now, because if one driver has a mistake around him, if he even loses focus for 1 minute, if he ends up staring at a camera towards our direction way too long, he might miss his entire braking zone. So in other words, if you want to be a driver who keeps on having this dominant run, you cannot afford to really lift your focus until really the checkered flag, because, well, it's COTA. We've seen the results of that in the real world this year, especially with the sunshine, with that start. We're seeing it here tonight.
Oh, yeah, and who can forget last year with the storms and the rain? And that was probably one of the most entertaining, unfun NASCAR races I've ever seen.
Now, that race was extremely challenging. I think this year, with what happened to the real world race, obviously, it really showed the potential of the circuit as a whole and why so many fans like the circuit, especially, even though it's mainly configured, keep in mind, for the construction to bring Formula 1 back to the U.S., it's a really very solid stock car circuit, despite its size, you can say the very least. By the way, Bloom is currently having a very busy time with Hayden Anderson and Dan West Jr. looking to see how they can try and make a pass.
Oh, and by the way, speaking of Circuit of the Americas, as long as Speedway Motorsports owns that racetrack, which sounds like it's going to be pretty while for Bruton Smith and Marcus Smith, Dan West Jr. going around, couple of cars to miss.
That's a little bit troubling.
Yeah,
I was about to say.
As long as SMI owns the racetrack at Circuit of the Americas, Justin, we'll have NASCAR there. I was told that personally.
That's actually a really good sign, and as well, too, that may or may not be an intriguing thing to layer up, because initially, remember, it was a contract out with one of the Texas states. But here's a look, though, at what happened there. Anderson tried to get the later brake on the outside, but just couldn't get the grip down with the gears and with the power back down, and just, he overheated those rear tires the first time, carried over to the next part, and then a lap car on top of it, that he had to dodge in the middle of missing that apex.
That was Stephen Paulison, by the way, the 58 machine that went around Paulison that spun. Dan West Jr. then got on the binders, and so did Caden Anderson. We are 20 laps to go. We're not even at halfway, though. Remember, we're not halfway yet. Here comes Robert Gamble, the Bengals entry onto the pit lane in 54. Justin, explain why it's 32 laps, but 32 laps is a long distance around this racetrack.
Well, when it comes to 32 laps, keep in mind, you have to factor this way. It's 3.4 miles per lap. When you consider things, and not just the fact that Robert Gamble is staring at the camera as well as he gets to the pit stop, partly because the camera's above where he's looking.
Hi, Robert.
In regards to the 32 laps, You have to consider this. It's about a mile bigger than even Talladega. So the fuel is going to burn much quicker compared to, say, a Watkins Glen on the road course side, or any other the other circuits that NASCAR goes to on a year-to-year basis or have been prior to the first state's COTA. In other words, it's a very massive task if you were to ask them to go double even this mark on the distance matter in the real world, or rather double of that, even when you factor that in. In other words, it comes down really to the fuel.
As Justin reiterated on, this track is 3.4 miles long. 32 laps is the distance tonight's race. 109 miles shy. Oh, we got Ritters and Wood getting together. Odenbacher nowhere to go. He plows into Ritters. And that was going on inside the top 20. No harm, no foul, no caution. 19 to go. And Justin, as I said, this race shot 109 miles. Here's a replay. Toby Ritters on board with him. Somebody says, can you see Toby's camera? We'll check that here in a moment.
Well, Ritter seems to be really struggling here. You have Noonan elect to come into pit as soon as he sees the car, and then you have Ritter's not having a fun time. A big lockup from Wood on top of it on the dive. Yeah, I think it was the Anderson battery center to that, and Odenbacher, well, he was already committed to the outside groove and missing the corner either way, and that just was the icing on the cherry cake.
Yeah, Ritters, I don't think that's his fault at all. He just went up over the top of the berm there and went over the turtles, the rumble strips, and then he got hit from the other car, and then Odenbacher, Tristan Wood got into it. Missed, and there is there is Toby Ritters. Toby, don't fall out of your chair. It looks like it's, look at that, man. Justin,
you know what that is?
I'm digging these iRigs, man. I'm digging the way these guys do their races.
Well, first of all, you see some tech issues. That's going to be a massive concern. Keep an eye on the VR screen that's in the upper right-hand corner if he's having the same thing on his end. Second, you see that in motion. That is essentially where you have it balanced out to be where it follows the motions of the track, similar to some of the haptic systems and some of those full motion rigs you see a lot of these simulation teams have in the real world. There's the competition caution on circuit, though, right in time for Ritters to sort things out, and you can see he is having that issue as it's going. Tyra King also got a black flag right before the copy yellow.
So under 20 laps to go, caution flag out over the speedway here at Circuit of the Americas. It is with 18 laps to go, 2 laps shy of halfway. This race, 32 laps, caution coming out with 14 laps completed here at Circuit of the Americas. The field will catch the pace car. Justin, I'm assuming, bud, they're going to line everybody back up, have them catch up behind the pace car into Lake Peterson, open pit road, maybe give you another lap, and after that, the lights are coming off, and we're going back to green because they can control the outcome of the pace cars and the restarts now, would you think?
Not only that, remember the pit stops we've seen before the competition caution. 2 drivers are on the lead lap who did that gamble. Robert Gambill and Paul Newton, who is making one of the first starts I've seen him in the 27 for this season. Those 2, as a result, so long as they get up to the safety car here before the pit lane opens this time around, will cycle to the race lead and be able to force Lake Peterson to be on the offensive, albeit with a lap or 2 in their tires. And that, if it works out for them, may be a huge call that can gain them a few spots, if not the lead, towards the end.
Well, we'll certainly keep an eye on that, as right now we are working, again, lap 14. We were at 32 laps the distance, and pit road is about to become a very busy place here at Circuit of the Americas. Obviously, Lake Peterson, the man out in front right now. Lake Peterson leads. Justin, I see Frank Harris in the 11 in behind Peterson. I'm assuming he's trying to go for the wave around. Whenever everybody pits, he's going to go for the wave around, try to get back on the lead lap, you think?
So long as he's able to make it on gas, that is the tough thing, because here's the problem with the fuel, with the time of the competition caution here, is right around where drivers expect that fuel window, you would have to think, to be, around that 16 lap mark. Drivers have had a little shorter in the NASCAR competition, aim to go halfway regardless in that. In other words, right now, if there is an attempt for the wave around, I don't know if they would essentially make it to the end, so to speak. That is a big risk. And I mean big, if you were to take the wave, because you'd eventually have to come down the next lap anyway, if not, during the wave around lap, and hope you catch up to the pack and or to get lapped while you take the service as the green flag waves.
Justin, I know you just mentioned and hinted on this. Do you think these drivers might have to make another pit stop before this race ends?
For those who went for the pit stop before this competition caution, maybe, but it's a big maybe. But realistically speaking, I think they are in a comfortable spot, but not necessarily with a 20-gallon tank. Gives them more leeway in that mark. It's just a matter of when this green flag waves, first of all, to get us back under green. That will be a first major helping sign for a lot of these drivers. Because you have to keep in mind, when these drivers come down to the pit lane, it will take a long while to get the regroup. Wouldn't be surprised to see an extended yellow once they get the lights out. Have that extra lap to get everybody gathered up, because the pace laps are about 5-6 minutes long here. And trying to catch up 5 kilometers is hard, under pacing speed. But as well, that fuel mark, I don't think will be a concern per se towards the end here, for the most part. Just see this being, you can make it towards the end from here, to keep it simple.
Well, you see the scoring ticker currently right now, and to be honest with you, this is how big this racetrack is. They have finally got themselves onto the pit lane, and we're going to cover these pit stops for you, as well as what other cars do not stay on the racetrack. They pit, the other ones stay in, and look at this now as the siren is blaring, indicating cars are coming to the pit lane. We're watching Lake Peterson on the far left. We're watching Brian Barnes on the bottom right, small camera, as he's the points leader. Cole Raz, second of the points, right there in front of him, and they're in their pit stalls now, Justin.
As well, the replay showing how the pit entry seems to go in the upper right hand. Up on the Jackson, quickly taking the tires. As expected, Newton and Gamble did elect to stay out during the caution here. Off and away, though, Peterson nice and clean. Raz with a little bit of a fight, though, with Super Friends, as Barnes jumped up a little bit. Wood came out with Toby Ritters alongside and was able to get those repairs done with a fast repair in the pit lane here. So a few drivers able to capitalize here, but mostly stationary in terms of the movement.
Obviously, Lake Peterson is the man that's leading. I don't know if our producers could possibly be able to grab him and see if, I don't even think he even joins us in our communication chat on a weekly basis. But the man, I'm telling you, Lake Peterson is just doing a phenomenal job week in, week out since he's made a return to this series. And yes, he is. He is actually in the chat box. So I don't know if maybe there's a way we can grab Lake and get a word with him, see how things are going first half of the race, maybe put him up on the camera as well as you see all the awesome onboard shots. And okay, we don't have that built yet. But hey, can we show you all of the camera angles at one time? Can we do that, Charles? And show everybody all the, look at this. Ask you shall receive. Hey, wave at us. You're back on camera again, guys. There you go. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So Justin, top left is Lake Peterson.
Yes.
He's the man that's leading the race. In the middle, is that John Onnebacher? He's changed up his camera angle. Okay. Toby Ritters is on the far right, as we mentioned, with the VR headset on. In the bottom left, middle is James Vining, Robert Gamble, Sean Brightsman, middle three. And then at the bottom is Toby Ritters. And then, of course, closing it out is the driver.
Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith, yes. Kevin
also
Smith
Vinny
and James
McDonald.
Vining.
Vinny McDonald, believe as well, rather. But we'll say who, with the one that's middle left there, that is a lot of musical equipment. To say the very least, a lot of guitars.
Oh yeah, you're talking about with the Catman, James Viney. Yeah, you can tell he's definitely into music.
And it shows the wide variety of setups where you have drivers with the full-on triple monitor rigs, with full motion in some cases. Others, it's simply you'll attach to the desk, and others, it's a wheel setup with a TV in the middle of art music space as well. So you have that major diversity.
Justin, I'm envious of them. I mean, I thought I had a nice setup. They got me beat. Yeah. I want to get a vibrating iRacing rig.
Well, yeah. You have $5,000 for a motion rig? Actually, I think it's $15,000.
I have that kind of money. I'm just not going to spend it on a vibrating chair. So, but that's really cool, though. I mean, I guess it makes the experience be like it's a real thing. What?
It does more than vibrate. It also goes with the sways and the motions of the elevation changes, and you can feel it as it pitches you up in the air as you lift up off the ground if you end up going flying and slam down into the ground again. It's very intriguing.
Oh, wow. That does sound
very
fun.
immersive. But here's the part I'm curious about. Paul Newton. We haven't really seen him, I think, at all, really, this campaign. He comes out tonight, immediately puts up top 3 speed, and now is amongst those with the strategy gamble, who's in a really solid spot here if he can find a way to hold on for about 15 laps up at the point here in this Ford.
And by the way, they will be coming up on halfway when we take the green flag. Justin, one of the things we talked about, bud, is I think they're going to get one to go at the flag stand this time by with the lights off on the pace car here. This 200-foot climb all the way up the hill to turn 1. Talk about this, man, because this is pretty wild right here.
This is one of the craziest entry zones in not just NASCAR these days, but in potentially all of motorsport, especially when it comes to the Formula 1 Grand Prix here. Grand Prix, should say. Because it's a type of corner with not just the elevation change, but also the amount of desperation that can come into play, and aggressiveness, where drivers will go and keep it easy, and then you have others send it from 15, 20 car lengths back and launch it in and somehow make it stick. But there's a fine art to do that, where it's usually calamity corner for a reason on the restarts and the start initially. Because it's so easy for drivers to corner on in, go for the dive, while others expect the space to not have someone in it, dive it on in, get spun around on the corner exit. There have been cases where I've seen NASCAR drivers as well on the platform go for the send, dominate the race, mind you, before the restart in that sequence, lick the stamp and send themselves all the way through the mailbox into the tire barrier to end their race. In other words, it's very easy to end your race there.
Yes, exactly. My sentiments exactly, Justin Prince. And we've seen that. We saw that on the start. We'll see it on the restart, especially when you kind of get back single file, Justin. It kind of calms down a little bit. But when you're 2x2x2, like Noah leading the animals to the proverbial arc of 200 feet to turn 1, you're going to see some bumping, banging, some slips, some mistakes. And when that happens, as I think we'll see when we get ready for this restart, you got to be on your binders. You got to be hitting your marks, and you got to watch out not to make that mistake going up the hill.
We'll be down that mark, and then the second part of that is the run through the S's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you lose even a little bit of rhythm, hit one of the turtles, go a little bit too shallow on one of the lines, everyone else potentially could stack up right into you and behind you, and it ends up essentially seeing you cut the corner with a massive time penalty, especially off the restarts at a track such as this one. And here's the thing. If you have a time penalty off a green flag, especially the initial start of a race, it is a massive penalty compared to if you do it on the second lap. Because the second lap is when the times really cycle in to know that race balance compared to your competitors. So you need that nailed on in before you get to turn 11, which is the next calamity corner, the circuit, mind you. Really, there's 4 of them.
And we will get ready for the restart here as they work around these final couple of corners. I think that's turn 17. Here comes turn 18. Somehow or
Always-
another, they'll get to turn 19, and the pace car will hit speed around this part of the track, Justin, and we'll get ready for the restart here in just a couple of corners.
Yeah. Was about to say this turns 13 all the way to 15 right now, the arena section here too.
Oh, never mind.
And the major thing when it comes to Circuit of the Americas, though, I will say, is its major footprint is you have this massive concert space available as well that is always seeming to be rocking, to say the very least, whenever there's racing at this facility, especially that big tower. That's the landmark of the racetrack where fans can watch from up top of. It's
Yes.
a very serene atmosphere and a good atmosphere with it, even though it's got its facing, so to speak, in its big footprint. It has a lot of fan attention, to say the very least, because of all this action around the main sections.
And we just passed that big tower that I think it goes 14, 15 stories high. And then, and by the way, that's not race control, mind you. That's a fan interaction near the amphitheater where you can actually be able to go to the tower, and there's the Ferris wheel that's normally there during NASCAR weekend as well. And we're ready now for a restart. Just after halfway, 16 laps to go when they come back to the Geico restart zone. And now, correction, 15 laps remaining. Green flag back out here. Watch them climb the hill.
Bad start for Gamble. Couldn't get through the gears. Massive stack on the outside. Gamble tries to make it up by sending on the outside. COTA rakes it off turn one, and he loops it into Brightsman.
Oh, he lost it. He lost it. You just saw the car fishtail in the grass. Justin, that's what we were talking about. Those restarts. Oh,
One more
Brian
trouble.
Bloom spinning through the S's of the Geico corner.
Bloom hard to the barriers, another spin in the heart of the pack. Vinnie McDonald
Vinnie
loops it in the
McDonald
heart of the
around.
group.
Oh, my.
Everybody looping it.
So Robert
What did I
Campbell,
say?
Brian Bloom, Vinnie McDonald, already the first three Stooges involved in those opening laps.
Not done yet. The Catman James Vining, terrible corner exit, nearly got turned around by Tristan Wood. More spins all amongst the section. Seen one spinning in the heart of the pack. That time around, believe it was Brightsman again. Brightsman indeed was the spinner, heading towards turn 11. He loses all the ground and then some from the launch. All this as well. Paul Newton leads over Lake Peterson into turn 12.
And as they work the turn 12, turn 13, around the other side of the race course, coming off that big part of the back straightaway, if you will. Sharp curves, working back around the amphitheater and the stadium. The big tower, as you mentioned. And all the while, now look who's up in front. Paul Newton in the number 27. Oh, man, Caden Anderson goes off course. Anderson off course, had to check up in front of Stephen Paulison. Garber and others. No harm, no foul. 15 to go. They work back off the corner. 14 to go.
Coming to 14 to go indeed. A lot of shuffling in the heart of this grouping with these mistakes. Newton and Peterson, they've checked out 1.3 seconds, their gap amongst each other. Barnes in third off the launch. Raz, Wood, Vining, the top six. Looking as Paulison tries to defend his way up towards turns 19 and 20. To the inside, Anderson takes a peek to try and bounce back. Not there though for the time being. Chris White spins it around in the new look 6. Oh, and he puts it right up on the racetrack right into Stephen O'Hare. O'Hare with a black flag for incident points.
That's coming right off of turn 20, back to the start-finish line. Man, oh man, and Justin, I think you're saying O'Hare might have a penalty in the 41 for incident points. Black flag might be coming.
It is coming. There is an incident count penalty for 20 incident points. Many drivers have triggered it. Tyler King yet to serve one. Autumn Bunker has one. A few others have triggered it. O'Hare, with that contact, reached his first mark for it. So many of the drivers struggling to keep themselves within the painted lines and without contact. Chris White, massive damage from that situation too, with that spin and attempt to get to the runoff space right into the path of O'Hare. And the interesting thing, by the way, with White, as O'Hare spins it around in front of Chris White, trouble still sparking around him.
Hold on to it.
Kevin
There's
Smith also
Kevin
around.
Smith with a problem. Yeah, Kevin Smith with an issue there. My. When it rains, it pours.
Road courses aren't easy to drive for a reason. More bumping and banging here and across the circuit. E.J. Tidrick may have been amongst that contact. Carl Burke, black flag, plenty of tempers flaring. This was in turn 11 where Burke ran to the back end of Tidrick.
And all the while, this still continues going on with now 14 laps to go. Up in front, Paul Newton, Lake Peterson, Brian Barnes. Lake Peterson got to get right by Barnes, or I'm sorry, Newton, Cole Raz, Tristan Wood, top 5, all in a comfortable spot. And here's the thing, Justin. We know with coming to 13 to go, this race will not finish under caution. This race will have no more yellow flags. We know they're going to go the scheduled distance, which is shy of 109 miles here in this 32-lap race. So that makes you become aggressive or become a little bit more patient until probably 10 remaining, you think, buddy?
Good question. It comes down to really where you are, first of all, in terms of the battles, in terms of the spacing you have. Because if you have space, you're taking it easy. You're taking it calm. You're saving the tires. You're in a battle, though, such as this one. You're thinking about trying to make sure you keep the tires on it, yes, but also making sure you don't make those mistakes and over push the car. Trying not allow them to have that opportunity to jump back in and zip on by as a result of your mistakes. And you see how much it has to be worked around this track if you're using the wheel like James Vining here. You have to find that balance. By the way, Anderson didn't find the balance. He's off with Chris White. Chris White is also involved again.
Hey, and by the way, how about a run for the Catman, James Vining? Right now, Justin, outside the top 10 and outside the top 5 in 6th, I mean. Good run for the 333. Speaking of another 6, here is Chris White, the CWR Racing Entry Toyota. And that driver picked up the truck win at Kansas the other night. Now sits comfortably. I'm sorry, Atlanta. He won in Atlanta this past week at Atlanta. Yes. And he's got a good run right now, sitting in the top 20 and 17. Couple of bumps and bruises along the way, Justin, but the car's still in one piece, and he's still doing well.
Happened the prettiest of days, though, with a different manufacturer, but look at Lake Peterson. He's gained a second on this lap in towards turn 19. Looks to go sending it into the brakes. A little bit deeper than Newton. Newton being extremely cautious. Peterson being extremely aggressive. Heading to the front straightaway, he's on the back bumper, the race leader.
This is for the lead. Peterson, who dominated the first half of the race. Number 9 on board with the Hooters entry. Throwback to Chase Elliott when he raced at Atlanta. Here comes now the 27 Ford. Newton, perfect transition up the hill. Around now to the Geico S's. Perfect around the Echo Park Automotive Bridge. And now he'll settle into these corners, these sharp turns, left and rights. And somehow or another, Justin, I know you'll reiterate on me with this. You gotta let those turtles, you gotta let those rumble strips be your friend to help you pull away.
Problem is, you see the difference with the onboard on the LSRTV side. Peterson taking the S's much more smoothly. Newton trying to hug the very edge of the rumble strips has lost oodles of time trying to hold the much tighter line. Peterson looking for a chance to lick the stamp. It's a bit of the turtle coming through turn 11. Turn 12. Will he be able to build up some draft and some confidence descended on him? Not close enough for the lunge yet, Wesley. And that's the tough thing for him, getting close enough to make this pass.
Yeah, that's what we're watching here now. Keep an eye on that as this goes on. Here at Circuit of the Americas, watch him work their way into that corner. Sharp turn. A little more bumping, a little banging. There's on board, by the way, with Peterson on the bottom right there, Justin.
Not able to get there yet. A bit of wheel hop for Newton. heading towards turns 15 and 16. Passing the arena section. Peterson a little bit further back than the last attempt. Peterson, though, stronger when it comes to the middle speed sections. Tries to use all the runoff space. Noonan tries to hug the very edge of the inside lines. Up to turn 19. Peterson again, deeper in. Uses every inch of the runoff space and then some. Bit of a time penalty for Peterson for turn 20. He'll have to give back the time gained.
Coming to the line, it will be 11 laps to go at start finish, and they work up the hill again. Justin, you said something about a time penalty. What does that mean?
That means he went over the edge of the top track limits, and if you pass two of your tires past the edge of the surface and cut the course, in the eyes of iRacing where it gains an advantage, you have to let that time back within 30 seconds. You don't let that time back for what you gained, you end up getting a black flag and it sends you directly towards the pit lane. Or you have to serve it under green. So in other words, stay within the inside the rumble strips, and you have to know where those limits are. Some tracks do have special rules for that. COTA is not one of them.
That's something we'll definitely have to keep an eye on. That could definitely change the outcome of the race, no doubt. We're here for the Round 9 Northwest. We're at the virtual Circuit of the Americas. iRacing on LSRTV. Justin Prince, Wesley Outland alongside. 10 laps to go next time around here, as Paul Newton is the leader. Lake Peterson is second. Brian Barnes is third. Cole Raz is fourth. Tristan Wood, top 5. James Vining in sixth. Dan West Jr., some problems earlier. He's in seventh. Garber, eighth. Brightsman Paulison, top 10. And Justin, it does look like, as we're watching McDonald and Smith battle for 11th and 12th. A battle for the lead. Peterson got around Newton, and Barnes is trying to get around the 27 of Newton as well.
Newton has fallen off a cliff. It came from turn 12 on the send. Peterson missed his braking mark and somehow made the full corner despite a full left side lockup. Newton couldn't bounce back. Newton now in the defensive. Here is a look at the send on the LSRTV replay. Way too deep. Newton can't get the power back down to go for the attack on back. And Peterson is now in the race lead by 8/10 with 10 laps to go, with Brian Barnes in the conversation with him.
And this is how it went down right there. Watch that again, the replay. You saw it, presented by Pulse Poppers. 22 completed, 10 laps to go in this 109-mile contest here for Circuit of the Americas, Round 9 of the Northwest Racing Series. And all the while, Peterson, Newton, Barnes, Raswood, top 5. Justin, for the most part, that's the way it's been in the top 5 all night long. Those drivers have been strong, and they've been the guys that you got to keep an eye on if you flip-flop them back and forth for the leader time or two.
I think Peterson might be amongst those really impressing, though, with the road course run here tonight. Not too many drivers, if any, are known for their road course prowess, we'll be honest, when it comes to the Northwest Cup Series this season. Drivers like Barnes have done very well. Cole Raz, I think he'll open up a little bit of eyes and may say, I'll run an official race of 2 after this. Those drivers have been nice and close. Paul Newton in particular mentioned we haven't seen too much, if any, of Newton this year. And he's come right into the scene to say, you know what, I'd like to fight on the racetrack. Keep in mind, he's also had those logos on some of the cars throughout the year. It's been an impressive run for this entire top 4. Tristan Wood would say he's really had scratch and claw to hold on in front of the Catman for 5th, as the battle is on with Wood. Watching from the wings, Raz, in particular, looking to jump past Barnes.
Watching that on board with Barnes. Look at Raz. And remember, Justin, these guys 1 and 2 in the points. So you want to hang with your guy here, because Justin, amongst all this craziness tonight at Circuit of the Americas, and by the way, we're seeing some cloud cover hit over the racetrack. This is also one of these places that are points races, Justin. So you want to try to somehow come out of COTA with a prominently good run, so it doesn't hurt you in the point standings down the stretch.
Exactly, and the thing is, you need to eventually have these solid points runs like at the bad track, should say, to where if you do have a bad run, you have something to bank on long term when you get towards the playoff window later on in the year. So you kind of can't just say, oh, it's the road course, like, I'll just take a few points lost here and there. Not in today's NASCAR, not in today's Northwest Cup Series. You need to be consistent in all the racetracks and score solid points at all types of circuits if you want to be a champion.
Watching them work around these corners here again. 20 turns, close to 3.4 miles, just shy of 3.4 miles the distance. I want to say it's like 3.68 mile road course here at Circuit of the Americas. This is round 9 of the series. We're in the home stretch of under 10 laps to go as Newton, Barnes, Raz trying now somehow, some way, Justin, to run down Lake Peterson. Who is the leader? My question is this as he goes up the hill and around the corner here. You see the interval. It's almost 1.7 seconds. Are Newton, Barnes, and Raz playing possum to make a rally after Lake Peterson when it's time to go, maybe with 5 remaining, 3 to go, to try to make a run after these guys?
I wouldn't say so, because here's the thing. Not just because Raz swapped on by Barnes going towards the arena section all the way to 15 and 16. The main thing is who's been the most consistent in terms of the fall off and limiting it? Lake Peterson. And that has not been just at the road courses like COTA tonight, but our words in our places. Drivers like Barnes, locking it up is not going to help your case. So the case of playing possum, well, it just got fried like a possum, it seems, unfortunately for some, just now.
Well, we got a fun week ahead. Obviously, iRacing on LSRTV every Monday night, the Sim 500, as we go 3x3 on your screen. Sim 500 earlier tonight at Darlington. Falkingham winning that one, obviously, sheer domination. We have tonight's coverage here from COTA, Circuit of the Americas, Northwest. Wednesday, we have a new series that is going to be launching. You better get ready for that one. That's going to be a fun time. Of course, it is the brand new Crown Jewel E Late Model Stock Car Series. And of course, Justin, Samuel, John, Mustian, and myself are on the team. I'll be there for a couple of races. We'll have details of all that coming up. And in addition to that, Thursday, obviously, the Northwest Truck Series. Samuel and myself on the call for that one. As a matter of fact, we're getting ready. I believe it's we ran Kansas already. So let me see if I can see the schedule here in front of me. The trucks will be in action at Texas. No, correction. Sorry. Charlotte. It's Charlotte coming up this week, and next week we are at Charlotte as well. So there you go. You got Charlotte for the trucks this Monday, Charlotte for the Cup cars next Monday. And then, Justin, remember, then we take off as we see Tindrick get loose in the corner there in the 72 car. And all the while, we settle up for LTAC at Nazareth on Friday night. And, Justin, how about this one? Sunday night, the Major Series presented by Majors Garage. 500 miles. 200 laps for the virtual greatest spectacle in racing for American sportsmen. We'll have it for you on iRacing on LSRTV Sunday night. It should be a good one.
Yeah, it's one of the major staples when it comes to the Major Series in all the regions when you consider things. The community when it comes to open racing on iRacing is, if anything, its strongest, especially on that side of the platform, because of how many top teams are a part of it. And there's so many competitors you have to consider here too, Wesley, who try and qualify their way in and try and perform at that top level and make it into the race. Keep in mind when it comes to getting yourself towards that pre-qualifying, a huge part of that process when you have to consider things, and many of the drivers in the Americas have to be able to put in those pre-qualifying times to see if they position themselves in those set split. The difference for some of the drivers can be very razor thin between pro and sportsman to be able to represent your respective team in those races. It is a difficult race, to say the least. It's difficult to manage. It's difficult to strategize. You need to be pixel perfect if you want to win at the Brickyard.
Yeah, you certainly do. The world's greatest race course in the racing capital of the world, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, will have it for you this Sunday night. Looking forward to it for the major series. Sean Brightsman, there you see him trying to run down the Catman, James Vining, for that position on the racetrack. That, by the way, going on. Well, that is going on for 6th and 7th. And look at Sean Brightsman trying to get after the Catman. And he does clear him. Look at the way he done that transition. That was perfect. Move him up one more position. Justin, we're on the home stretch. Coming up on 6 laps to go this time by.
This race blistering on by for some. Vining absolutely having a solid race. His fall-off has been dramatic, yes, but he's been able to distance himself in terms of positions for battles. Casey Garber's lost ground to him. Might be able to possibly close up to Brightsman if Brightsman continues his struggles, though, because Brightsman had been running a solid clip in the 2:16s for a solid 3-4 laps, and all of a sudden has fallen off a cliff this lap. He looks like he's really struggling to rotate the car, really struggling to be able to keep things on the circuit, really struggling to get the power down, let alone get it through the brakes. If anything, it looks like Brightsman, with the damage, is really settling its toll for the long run, where he's really struggling to get this car to get itself to turn. Look right there, how much wheel he has to put it in just to be able to make it to the edge of the circuit, let alone make the corner.
There's Brightsman up the hill as we just watched him. 6 laps to go. And the final laps remaining of this event here tonight, Circuit of the Americas. Charlotte next week. Justin, mind you, man, the last 3 weeks have been crazy because we go from you know, the schedule of the races for this series is just mind-boggling because we turn around. The last couple of weeks we went obviously to Atlanta 2 weeks ago, you know, obviously. I'm sorry, correction, my bad. We go from Kansas 2 weeks ago, Darlington, Kansas, COTA, and now we go to Charlotte. Is Caden Anderson on pit road with damage? Definitely, before we get ready for a nice little Memorial Day break, some very unique racetracks the Northwest Racing Cup Series have raced on.
And I find the layout, of course, intriguing, first of all, in terms of that schedule landscape is more so the right term. Because you go from, you mix around some of the real world dates, but the thing is, when you consider that is, it's more so trying to get a string of races you can think and kind of pair towards to be able to help the drivers pace themselves, but also, while keeping some connection to the real world races in those respective dates, also trying to make sure that you don't have it where you don't have too far out from a certain course or a certain type of racetrack. And in some circumstances, going away from that scheduling, for example, they're right now slotted for the oval for Indianapolis rather than road course for August. So taking those liberties to find that balance and craft themselves the dream schedule, so to speak, based on the experiences in the past. And I think it's going to be helpful for some. Now, back-to-back mile-and-a-halves, albeit different types of mile-and-a-halves with the banking at Texas, but overall, it helps that momentum flow ever more present. Oh, and by the way, the Texas race is an extra little bit longer since it's, well, in real life, about 500 miles.
That's exactly right. By the way, Charlotte next Monday, then Texas, then we take off, then we get ready for our second road race of the year at Sonoma. Then it's Gateway, Nashville, another road course event at Road America, and that will wrap up the stint from, if you will, Memorial Day to June 27th, and the next 6 races on the schedule before we do take off again for a 4th of July break. So there you go. And you see, again, very unique racetracks. It's Lake Peterson, still the man out in front in that number 9 machine, Lake Peterson. Staying in the position. He's got 2 wins now. Justin, he's trying to become 3rd winner this year.
3-time winner possibly.
Get to the line.
Yeah, and it's been a very outright dominant campaign when Peterson's been able to make the races. Every race he started inside the top 10 by the checker flag. It's just been what you expect from Lake Peterson, though. If you look into the background and know what he's been able to do, and see how he's been able to race around the circuits across various different types of cars, as Carl Burke continues his adventure into the inside and outside walls. But when it comes to Peterson, it has been outright domination, to say the very least. And again, it's not a surprise whatsoever if you look into the background of drivers such as Peterson, Raz, and company, and how much they put into the real world as well as in the virtual world.
Carl Burke also in that Thrasher Chevrolet Camaro. JRM Motorsports entry, one of the drivers that have had a pretty solid run this year through the bumps and the bangs, bruises, still in the top 10 of the point standings. Somehow, some way trying to survive here at COTA. There's the points leader, Brian Barnes, and his beaten, battered, and banged popsicle Toyota Camry. Somehow, willing and dealing around COTA, being there at the end. Hey, we're coming up on the top of the hour in about a few more minutes. We will pause for 10 seconds of network identification and play one commercial break. We're going to go side by side. When we return, we take you to the finish. COTA iRacing on LSRTV, and for those listening on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to the Community Radio Network. Follow us via social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CRN Sports. Plus, listen to the games at 87.5 FM or join us anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it?
They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Told you it'd be a quick one. Justin Prince, Wesley Outland here with you, and we are taking you to the finish with now 4 laps to go in car 4. Brian Barnes trying to run down Cole Raz, and Justin, they're 1 and 2 in the points as well.
Remember, Brian Barnes has been one of the staples of consistency when it comes to the season. Yet to break through for a victory, yes, but he has 6 top 10s, but also has the 4 top 5s. No one else outside of Lake Peterson has been able to match his mark while making all the starts when it comes to Barnes' case. So Brian Barnes absolutely might be looking for that chance to be inside the top 3 in this run. He's been inside the conversation just about every single week, it seems, this season, but only one time, make it 2, has been inside the top 3 by the end.
Down the stretch, 3 laps to go. Working around the Geico S's. Those sharp turns. Whoa! Brian Barnes! You see what I meant about using those corners and it turning against you, Justin? He was airborne, but what a save to keep going in the 4.
Able to keep it on the racetrack. That just cost Barnes a chance, though, at that position. And his car is damaged because when that diffuser hit the ground, it slammed the whole left rear fenders in on that machine. That adds to the door damage that was on Barnes' car throughout that run. Not what Brian Barnes wanted to have happen to end this run, and what had been a very calm race with minimal mistakes before then.
No, this is heartbreaking. Watch this as we see him working his way around the racetrack. He still is staying up to speed somehow, but Brian Reynolds getting up on the binders in front of him. The 12 clears the way. Jack Daniels' car. I'm surprised, Justin. You said he's got damage, but somehow, some way, he's going back to the whip and he's trying to run down second and third.
And as you see the spin in the backdrop, that is another rough one to run for Brian Reynolds. There's still a decent chance, yes, but he lost a huge amount of time and a huge amount of chances to be able to make some lunges with that one mistake through the S's. For him, he might only have maybe one, if not two chances, unless Raz makes a mistake similar to that one with 2 laps to go.
And they will be coming to 2 to go this time by up the hill. There's the leader working in that first corner. Sharp. Oh, look at that. Justin, that's what we were talking about. He didn't see Tindrick get a turn real quickly. That'd have been disastrous for the leader if he would have hit him. 2 to go.
Didn't lose too much time despite that, it looks like, but man, a big mistake now for Peterson. Time penalty for Peterson. He'll have to give up some of that ground he had. How will this break down is the question. It's a massive time penalty. That was 1 second at least he just had to sacrifice.
And so basically, Justin, what does he have to do? Go off. He's got to slow down. He has to lose speed to gain that time back if you get a time penalty. What does it entail?
Correct. That means basically you can't go full out, essentially. Some drivers have an art form where quarters like this, you can just say, oh, I'll just go a little bit later on the throttle, do it that way. But it's not as simple in some other portion of the track where, especially if you have a massive amount of time, you essentially have to lift off the full throttle and just let your car coast down the straightaway.
And as you said, my friend, you've got 30 seconds. And if you do not acknowledge that penalty within 30 seconds, basically you disappear and go to the pits on a penalty. You're DQ'd.
Wouldn't necessarily say DQ, but it definitely is a black flag you'd have to serve. Which would take you essentially out of contention land for a race like this. In other words, you do not want to be having that mistake coming to the white flag in a race that has been outright dominated by yourself with the long run pace of the race. And you can already see with how he's handling the throttle movements this final sector. Already is taking it as calm as possible, especially knowing if he reaches 20 incident points as well, that means win over.
Last win on the series for this driver was April 11th. Bristol Dirt. Lake Peterson won it. He also won March 28th at Dover. He's about to become, to the white flag of the Sierra and 1 to go, the 3rd winner of the series. Final time up the hill. Perfect transition. It's the final lap for Lake Peterson.
Lake Peterson absolutely has dominated long run pace. He's made mistakes, yes, but they've come at times where he's been able to bounce back fairly quickly. The pace he's had, especially when it comes to his flow in the S's, for most of the laps, has been one of the best in this entire race. And that has really helped him pull ahead. Christian Wood has just had a spin, though, behind him.
Tristan Wood going around. That driver fell, well, one time he was one of those contenders in the top 5. He's now fallen all the way back into the clutches of, oh my, the 57 machine, all the way to 6th. So he's kind of lost ground, if you will, to those front runners. As all the while, it is Lake Peterson working his final ways around the racetrack. You're on board with him there. On the bottom right, got a couple of more straightaways and corners to go, Justin, before Lake Peterson picks up the win here at COTA.
Peterson looking at this road course victory to what has been a season with victories at a variety of different types of racetracks. He showed his prowess at the short tracks. He showed his prowess when it comes to the dirt. And now, with a couple more corners to go, he looks to show why he can have speed too at a road course. Final couple corners for Lake Peterson.
He's won on Bristol Dirt. He's won at the Munster Mile. And now he wins on the road course. Three different configurations of racing for the driver of the number 9, Lake Peterson. Winner tonight at COTA. Sigh of relief. You did it, buddy. You did it. Congratulations. Paul Newton, a good comeback after some problems earlier in the race, will settle for second. Cole Raz third. And Justin, they all got to make almost 3.4 miles on the cool down lap before they come back to start finish. Lake Peterson, take it all in, brother.
Outright raw pace and outright speed, to say the very least. And reason 2, he's being very careful here. He does the burnout still. There are still half the field's competitors trying to get themselves finished here. So in our words for Peterson, plenty of time before he can celebrate. But Cole Raz can still say hi to him.
Yeah, one of the super friends, as you call him, trying to go over there and give him a little door slam or a little bump. Say, hey, buddy, congrats to you. I'm sure once we all gather back around and congregate down the front straightaway here at COTA, once they get through the road course, I'm sure there'll be some type of a celebration for the driver of the number 9. Lake Peterson gets it done here tonight. His third win this year. Of course, as I mentioned, Bristol Dirt. And then, of course, in addition to that, Dover. And now the native out of Corvallis, Oregon, Lake Peterson. We'll celebrate with drivers, teammates. There's the points leader, Brian Barnes, coming to give him an attaboy. And Justin, got to give an attaboy for Brian Barnes and Cole Raz. Another good day in the points for those guys.
Well, Raz in particular, who had his own struggles, kept it very clean. Brian Barnes had massive mistakes towards the end, but had a very solid night, I will say. Top 5 speed throughout the run, and some of the experience, I will say, it seems from the major series, from the pro side of the card, starting to carry on in as the burnouts. Now Peterson can do them because got that clears with everyone crossing the line.
Yep, all cars cross the start-finish line. Let the celebration officially begin. The native out of originally Klamath Falls, Oregon. Klamath Falls, Oregon, now from Corvallis, Oregon. He studies in majors at Oregon State University when he's not running iRacing. He's also playing soccer. And Justin, just another amazing performance. As there you see also Brian Barnes celebrating. He'll survive the day probably with the points lead. There goes Peterson continuing to light him up and burn him down. Normally this is our Northwest high five salute. I don't know if anybody's going to take a pounce at him.
I mean, for many of the drivers, some may be thinking I'm lucky not to reach the 20 incident point mark, as there were a lot who triggered a couple of them throughout the evening. The only driver without an incident point, Casey Duncan, and he only made it 8 laps.
Northwest Cup Series round 9 in the books at COTA. Here's your unofficial results. Lake Peterson, the winner, as more cars continue to still burn it down on the front straightaway and up the 200-foot embankment to turn 1. Paul Newton second, Cole Raz third, Brian Barnes fourth. A good points day for those guys. Sean Breitzman, solid top 5. Tristan Wood, problems along the way in the second half. He still came back to finish 6th. James Vining, good run for him for the Cat Band. Casey Garber, Kevin Smith, Dan West Jr., problems on the start, Justin. He still came back to finish in a solid top 10.
11th spot, Stephen Paulson. He had some adventures throughout the evening. Ryan Bloom, he ran without a front clip much of the night, still finished in 12th. Benny McDonald, after a spin in the heart of the pack, finished 13th. Carl Burke, after a lot of bumping and banging, 14th. Chris White attempted to try something different, going from the Brad Keselowski-inspired paint schemes to a Ryan Vargas-styled scheme on a Toyota. It didn't work. He finished 15th. Frank Harris finished one lap down with BJ Tidrick, Brian Reynolds, Aaron Cooper, John Annenbacher, all finishing inside the top 20.
21st will find Toby Ritters 2 laps down. Caden Anderson will finish 22nd. Robert Gamble 23rd. Stephen O'Hara 24th. Casey Duncan is 25th. Tyler King, Dana Rogers, Troy Daggett, Jeff Stabnow, and Roy Grande the top 30. And that is, I believe, the unofficial results. There they are tonight here at COTA. We'll step away. Coming up, finish line, post-race wrap-up. Justin and myself will grab a word with the top 3, including Cole Raz, Paul Newton, and Lake Peterson. Don't go anywhere from COTA. Virtual iRacing on LSRTV and the Community Radio Network. 3 wins now for Lake Peterson. We'll talk to him next. And everybody's in place, ready to go. It's time for the Finish Line post-race wrap-up. Quick reminder, join us for Finish Line every Wednesday afternoon, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, with drivers from NASCAR, ARCA, and so much more. Of course, on Fox Sports Radio affiliates in the Carolinas, iHeartRadio, and on the Community Radio Network. Again, that's Finish Line with Charles and myself. And, of course, proud sponsor of the post-race wrap-up. We're going to grab a word now with Cole Raz. Cole, 3rd place, crazy race here at COTA. You survive it. Good points day, your take of things, and somehow, some way, finishing ahead of Brian Barnes, and you need to do that on a Run for championship.
Yeah, 100%. It was a great points day. I'll be interested to see how all the points shake out when we get our Daytona win to count in the books and the stat sheets. So, it was a good day. I don't really consider myself much of a road course racer, and to come out with a top 3 like that, I'm pretty happy with. Car was pretty clean, didn't really make too many mistakes, but had nothing for Lake there. Majority of the day, he was just on a whole new level.
And it seemed like the type of racetrack, too, on top of things, that really seemed to challenge many of the competitors' braking marks, and more so the tire fall. How was that trying to manage things on the tire side? Because you mentioned the another level from Peterson, long run, first run especially. Second run, it seemed more balanced towards your way's direction.
Yeah, I think for the second half there after the yellow, I think the track cooled down quite a bit and kind of helped the overall grip. But once the tires fell off, it was real rough getting down through the gears. And, once you get down to first gear, it's so hard to control the rear grip. And as the run went on, you start losing the lateral grip through the S's, and it was just kind of a patient game. It almost felt like the slower you go, the faster you're gonna be off. So, it was tough. I'll tell you, that's probably the most worn out I've been from an iRace.
Of course, again, the driver out of Lake Oswego, Oregon, Cole Raz. Cole, racing with Brian Barnes for the points. You had a 10-point lead behind him. You were back 10 points to Barnes. Are you thinking championship points racing, or is it just going out there and doing what you got to do just to get finishes, get wins for the most part? We're still too early in, only 9 weeks in the season.
Yeah, it's still pretty early, and we were able to get 2 wins already in this season. So I think if we just make the rest of the races that I can, and be able to be locked into the playoffs and kind of go from there. I think at this stage it's just going after wins and bonus points, and we're not sitting in that bad a shape for bonus point wise. Just kind of keep building as the season goes on, and hopefully we're there, as the championship gets closer to us.
Hey, thank you, sponsors.
Yeah, big thank you to Master Wrench, Wells Johnson, Whiskey Ridge, everybody that helps put this on, LSRTV, always enjoy going back and watch the broadcasts, and all the fans tuning in tonight. Congrats again, Lake Peterson on the win, and the whole KAR team did a great job tonight.
Of course, from Lake Oregon, or Lake Oswego, Oregon. That is, of course, the driver of Mr. Colrass. Again, a good solid night for him. Of the points, he'll finish in the top 3. Second spot going to go to the driver of Paul Newton. Paul, you don't run that much, but when you pop in, you make your presence felt. I think you've done that again tonight. You settled for second spot here tonight at COTA. Your take of the race, sir.
Yeah, it was a good race for me. Like you said, I don't show up very often. I just love to run these road courses. It's the only chance I have to get some W's. But when Lake is in the field, I don't think the W's can happen. Lake really had the dominant car today. I got lucky. I made that pit stop right before the caution came out, so I got to bunch up and take the lead there. But yeah, Lake just stayed patient behind me. He kept the tires under him, and he did a better job than me and took off. So second place, I'm pretty proud of that.
It's your second start of the season as well, keep in mind, because previously you appeared at Daytona, finished 14th that day. Why COTA to come back for today after 2 months away? 2 months and 2 days.
Well, I guess you can consider me a road course ringer. I just love doing these road course races. They play to my strengths. Pretty calm driver, I think, and it's good to have these kind of races where you just try to keep those tires cool and just try to keep your head cool and don't make any mistakes. So I just love to do these road courses, and I'm going to try to do as many of them as I can this season.
Well, mind you, the next one coming up is in June at Sonoma. So, hey, let you go, Paul. Thank your sponsors, bud.
Sure. I want to thank PaulNewtonDesign.com, Peel's California Mandarins, and Beaver State Racing. And I want to say thank you to the Northwest Racing Series and LSRTV for putting these things on. And thanks to everyone watching at home.
There you go. There's the thoughts of Paul Newton, the road course ringer, if you will, putting a monkey wrench in things and settling for that number 2 spot. Victory lane we go. Of course, the driver is Mr. Lake Peterson. He picks up the 3rd win this year. Of course, the driver out of Corvallis, Oregon. Lake, man, what can I say? It just seemed like everything fell your way. Even when it seemed like there might have been a chance for some bad luck or even some hiccups, as Justin said, when you crossed over a timing loop, crossed over the rumble strips, had to give some time back. You did that. No harm, no foul. What a performance for you tonight in your 3rd win this year.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, like you said, I was just trying to do my best to keep the car underneath me, and with the track being so hot, making sure I didn't burn off the right rear. As Cole mentioned too, the struggling with lateral grip was definitely the biggest thing for me. Getting those S's down was what I just had minimized mistakes. I feel like this road course really plays to my strengths in terms of heavy braking zones. I feel like I can really get into the corner deeper than most, not a knock on anyone. I just feel like that's one of the things that I've gotten better at over my time on the sim. So yeah, just tried to keep the car underneath me and minimize mistakes best I could.
And the interesting thing about your campaign so far has been the showing of how you've been able to perform at a variety of different racetracks. A short track, a dirt track, now a road course. How would you describe that difference of trying to have that adaptability to be able to win at very different tracks from place to place to place?
Yeah, our schedule for this series is very diverse, so it's important to make sure you kind of hone in on each of the little minute details between these different tracks, as you mentioned. And over time, I've tried my best with these Cup cars to figure out what works, what doesn't work for myself, and then kind of improve upon what I'm struggling at. I think it's cool to see the results pay off here, being able to have wins at a multitude of different tracks. I don't know, it feels good going forward because I know that I should be competitive throughout the remainder of this schedule.
I'll tell you what, man, phenomenal job. I don't think there really is nothing much else to say except congratulations and thank your sponsors. Congratulations again. We'll see you at the next one.
Absolutely. Appreciate the praise. Means a lot. Want to thank everyone at SFE for getting these cars ready in the practice, and everyone at KR. It's made a lot of new friends this year, so it's been nice to kind of do this with them. Want to thank everyone at in our league, Sean, Jeff, everyone that puts this on. I think they do a great job. For my paint schemes, Phoenix Designs does an amazing job putting these schemes together. I got a couple fresh ones coming up here in the future, and LSRTV really couldn't do it without you guys. Appreciate the quality of these broadcasts, and really couldn't ask for much more. Got a lot of momentum going, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Hey, you're certainly welcome, man, and we certainly do enjoy watching you out there as well. Ladies and gentlemen, again, of course, the driver from Oregon, he picks up now his third win this year. That is Mr. Lake Peterson, and now Lake Peterson on the series has 3 wins this year, along with 3 poles, 5 top 5s, and 7 top 10s. Winning percentage is almost the same as pole percentage, 42.86%. Average finish is 4th or better. Justin, your take of COTA. We wrap it up. We head out. What a show these guys put on. COTA, it was interesting. Had its moments of thrills and spills along the way. Some chills for some of these guys. But in the end, Lake Peterson just simply dominated. I think I sum it up on my end. When it's your night, it's your night. And it seemed like the number 9 was strong the entire evening. Justin, you got a copy?
Well, when it came to Peterson, it was an absolute dominant night. Pardon me on that mark. In terms of how things played out here tonight, you're right in terms of the pace with Peterson. The long run tempo in particular, he was in control. But give a shout out to drivers like Newton and company. Newton was really strong, if not better than Peterson in the short run. It was just a matter of that tire fall off coming on in, and that balancing act of trying to make sure you don't fry said tires. Raz and Barnes as well, great performances. Now, the attention focuses to Charlotte.
America's home for racing, Charlotte Motor Speedway. Trucks on Thursday night, this Thursday. Samuel Dyer and myself will be on the call for iRacing on LSRTV and the Community Radio Network. And the Cup cars return before the Memorial Day break next Monday as well. Follow us at Northwest Racing Series on Facebook and social media for, of course, iRacing on LSRTV as well. Of course, for Mr. Jeff Stabnow, Charles Wooten, for